Hey, y'all. Good evening. How's it going, buddy? How we doing? Yeah, right on. Good evening, everybody. This is Spencer Keck and my Hillbilly Think Tank. So here we are, Tunnel Hills, Kentucky. Got my dear friend Perito here with me. Plus, the other pups are off camera, but I got Scout, my rescue dog that I rescued from the Hardin County Animal Care and Control Center over there on 220 Peterson Drive in Elizabethtown. Rescued him, back in 22, I believe it was, after I lost, or rest in peace, my sweet other service dog that I had. Scout's been a great pup to me ever since. And Perito is also a rescue. All of our dogs are rescues. We got four of them in the house. Um, why do I mention this? Well, it is the holiday time, and the animal shelter is hosting a special to benefit kids that need foster parents and that are in foster care. So they're linking up with one of our local organizations that is the Benchmark Family Services. Benchmark Family Services is having a gift drive for the kids that are in foster care. If you come in and donate a $25 gift to the animal shelter will allow you to adopt one of their large dogs for the cost of just you donating a $25 gift for foster kids. So adopt a dog, help kids that need adoption. Seems like a win-win to me, and Perito agrees. But if you guys haven't noticed the news today, we still got a lot of activity going on down there in the Caribbean, Venezuela, and yet at the same time, we had a surprise attack today by some of the fools over there in Syria. So if you didn't know it, we also still have troops in Syria. Two of our troops plus an American interpreter, civilian interpreter, were killed today in a surprise assault. Wow. So while we're trying to brew a war over oil, for the oil in Venezuela, we're getting entangled even deeper in Syria. I'm just waiting to see, because POTUS has said that he's going to do something in retaliation. What? That's what we're waiting to see. Well, guys, we also got the news today that the VA is going to cut 35,000 doctors and nurses and other healthcare providers from the VA. So, as I mentioned last night, we're not funding the VA. Now we're getting rid of VA providers. How is that helping me? I am a veteran and I rely on my VA healthcare system for my injuries and disabilities that I sustained in over 20 years of service in the military. I was in two wars, the first Persian Gulf War excursion, and also I was on deployment, as I said before, when the attack happened back in 2001, and I was with the first hospital corpsman in country with the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit. So, we have got to take care of our fellow Americans that have borne the burden and sacrifice for this nation to be as safe as it is. My brother died 4.5 years, almost 5 years after he lost his leg and hand in Afghanistan. He relied also on treatment from Walter Reed Army Hospital and also from the VA once he was retired. So, yeah, Christina, I see your comment there. Thanks. So what MAGA is doing right now, right, is shutting down $35,000 healthcare jobs, provider jobs in the VA. So folks like my brother, who, when he became a victim of 22 a day, he was receiving his healthcare needs through the VA and had been once he was medically retired. My other younger brother, who was with him on deployment when Kelly got blown up, he also is a disabled vet, and he relies on the VA for healthcare, as does his wife and child. They're using Champ VA for their healthcare. Thank you, Christina. Appreciate that. And my dad, when he died in the VA in Lexington, Kentucky. You know, I had to go there with my wife and with my son to make the decision of whether to take him off of life support after he had cancer 2 years in a row. Right after he found my brother dead in my brother's closet, he went back to Lexington, Kentucky, found out he had colon cancer. He got over that the next year. A day after, I guess, his 69th birthday, he went to the Lexington VA for a checkup and never came out of the hospital. He had stage 4 lung cancer. He was a Vietnam vet. So he got cancer from Agent Orange. He was in the Ia Drang in Vietnam. If you know anything about the Ia Drang, that was a horrible battle. When I came back from Afghanistan, my combat deployment, I took my brother Kelly, who would later die from his combat wounds, what I'm talking about, took Kelly and my dad to the theater in Lexington because I flew in there, and that's where my dad was living. And we went to see We Were Soldiers Once and Young. Dad had to leave the movie for 20 minutes because he was in that battle, and it brought back such horrible memories of all the friends of his that had died in that battle. Folks he went to boot camp with, jump school with, and had been in country with for a long time. He was on the helos that went in and rescued them. So, shutting down access for us to get the doctors and the nurses that we need to provide our care, this is a travesty. And you're sending us, or sending the active duty folks, off to war. You've got 2 theaters of action now, still Middle East, Syria, still a theater of action, still hot as it went today. And we've got Venezuela. We're brewing up for an invasion there. So we're brewing an invasion in Venezuela, and we're sacking 35 positions for healthcare providers in the VA. I've talked about it before. We have approval to build a community-based outpatient clinic here in Elizabethtown off of Ring Road. That'll be in District 3. If you elect me, be your magistrate, that's going to be where I'm going to get my care. If we have the doctors and nurses needed for that clinic. If we don't have enough doctors and nurses, how can we open that clinic? How can we keep open our clinics that aren't in the big cities? Quite a few people in Kentucky can't drive 3 to 5 hours to get to Lexington or Louisville for their VA care. Folks in Paducah, they don't need to drive all the way to Louisville for their care, or to Nashville. They shouldn't be forced to. Folks in Appalachia shouldn't be forced to drive all the way to Lexington to get their care. There are community-based outpatient clinics in a lot of these areas. We've been opening them up since we expanded care and clinics for veterans. When we really increased our access to care over the last 10, 15 years. But now we're screeching that to a halt. Started with Doge earlier this year. We've sacked so many VA employees. Now we're sacking the doctors and the nurses. This is incredible. This is not anything we need. But hey, The active duty folks, I guess, they're going to get to have that, fun adventure over in Latin America. Like I said, that was always a place that we used to joke and dream about being able to go to, someplace we could at least in our off time actually be able to party. Woo! But yeah, it's no party when you come back from combat wounded and your own nation doesn't care. So, y'all, hopefully, we'll pay attention. Okay, let's don't leave us all, throw us under the bus. Okay, pay attention. They aren't caring for us, and we all need to be taking care of each other, right? We don't have to give all these breaks to billionaires to rake us over the coals while we're left shivering in the cold. Okay, so think about that when it's election time. We got plenty of people on the ballot who won't just talk about caring for veterans. They'll put their vote in Congress and in the Senate where their mouth is. And we got to look at our local elections, same way up and down the board. Like I said, it's time for us to say the future is now. All right. I love my Kentucky heritage. I love my heritage of service to my nation. Hey, Gunner, good to see you there. Hello. I love my service to the nation. I'm so proud of it. I'm proud of my dad's service to the nation. Even though Agent Orange took his life, I'm proud of my brother Kelly's service to the nation, even though he became one of the 22 a day. Like I said, my dad found him hanging in the closet. No one should be left hanging in the breeze when we start this next war. They shouldn't come back home and find out, oh, we don't have a budget in the VA to take care of you. We don't have the budget to provide for what you need. Just talk to my youngest brother, Matthew, my surviving brother, who was with Kelly in Afghanistan when Kelly got blown up. Matthew just got a $7,000 bill because the VA lost so many people under Doge that run billing. They can't tell what's going on there anymore. They can't even keep up. So they made a mistake and disapproved his care in the community care that he'd been authorized. He lives an hour and a half from his local VA. He should not have to drive an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half back for his needed care. He's 100% disabled. Like I said, he was in Afghanistan with my brother Kelly when Kelly got blown up. We should not be leaving us high and dry. So, y'all, just keep that in your thoughts, please. And again, don't forget to go down to the local animal shelter here in Elizabethtown, donate them a $25 gift for local kids that are in foster care, and they will reward you. If you want to adopt a large dog, they have some down there, just like my service dog, and you can get the fees waived until December 20th. All right, y'all. Love your neighbor as yourself. We are our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper. God bless you, corazón, and Merry Christmas.